like we had some chances in the game. Wish we had done a little bit better in the final third. I think we've been searching for a little bit more sharpness amongst this whole tournament and all the games in that phase of the game. But I'm really pleased with the effort the guys had. I'm really pleased with the fight that we had. And ultimately difficult to lose the game on an individual error. But as we said before the game, the most important game is coming. So we need to move forward very quickly and prepare ourselves for that.
Thank you. We'll now start with questions, and we'll begin with Jeff Carlisle from ESPN. Jeff, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, Jason. You've seen your team for 3 games now. What's your assessment of the amount of creativity that's coming from your midfield? Do you think there's been enough of it? And if not, what needs to change?
Yeah, Jeff, it's, I guess we're going back to the creativity question. It's a difficult one for me. I mean, we have who we have. We have players that I think are very useful for us in the midfield. I think a little bit when we're playing an opponent like Mexico, you're not going to get a lot of time and space on the ball to make those decisions. I think ultimately, from my point of view against that opponent, we still created enough. We still got to the final third enough times. And so for me, it's not about creativity of a central midfielder. To me, it's just about finishing attacks and what you're doing in the final third.
Next up, we'll take Ramon Betek Malak. Ramon, go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Jason. Well, so I want to ask you, briefly, what message do you have to the USA fans after classifying to the semifinal? Thank you.
My message to the US fans is that we should still continue to believe. This is our first negative result. As I said, it was a close game. And ultimately, we know that the next game is the one we have to win. So we believe, and we ask for the support of everyone to believe as well. So it's all still there for us. Nothing's changed.
Next up, we'll take Sam Stejkal from The Athletic. Sam, go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jason. Jason, I know it's fresh right now, but what are your biggest takeaways from kind of the entire group stage here as you get ready for the big one here on Sunday in the semifinal?
Yeah, I mean, I think my takeaways are the same as they were before this game. I think tonight we saw really bright spots. I think we also saw spots where you're like, wow, these guys are still rusty, still making mistakes that you don't typically see them make in passes and movements and those sorts of things. So it is what it is. And ultimately, I think that we're in a good enough place that we will get the result in the very next game. So again, it's a difficult result for us to take tonight, but the goal is still right in front of us as it was before the game. So we're focused on that immediately.
Next up, we'll take Sergio Venegas. Sergio, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Thank you very much. Sergio Venegas from Deportes. What are your conclusions of this game and preparing for the next bracket on the semifinals? I know it's tough, but the game was a little close, but losing is losing.
Yeah, Sergio, I think I just answered the exact same question you asked. So I would just ask you to go back and listen to that answer.
Next up, we'll take Charlie Bohm from MLSsoccer.com. Charlie, go ahead.
Hi, Jason. I'm sorry if I didn't have the audio at the start of the conference, so I'm sorry if you already asked this, but what did you learn from the way your team dealt with the press? It looked like the center backs were brave in how they played through it, but maybe some difficulties in advancing the ball. What did you see?
Yeah, no, I was pleased, really pleased that we were brave enough to build out of the back. I think that we had quite a bit of success with it. Of course, there was an error here and there, and ultimately the goal came from their press on a forward that dropped down, and instead of controlling the ball and taking 2 touches, he had all kinds of time. He tried to play a first-time pass and got intercepted. But again, I think our guys did a very nice job of that of starting the build up from the goalkeeper and getting to the other side and doing quite well. So I'm pleased with that aspect.
Next up, we'll take Federico Olvera. Federico, go ahead.
Thanks for the question. Hello, Mr. Kreis. Good night. Coach, what do you think are the main technical and tactical virtues from the Mexican national team? And the second one is, you guys have many players in top clubs in Europe Are you going to use the most percentage of these players in case you got a ticket for Tokyo 2020? In other words, how many players you will use that now are currently with you in Guadalajara?
It's a good question. And to be completely honest, I don't know the answer to the question of how many players are here that are going to make the Olympics. I also don't know the answer to how many players are in Europe will be in the Olympics. I mean, it's just to say that if we get to the Olympics, we're going to do everything we can to put a best team together to go after success there. So yes, ultimately, we're going to hope that there'll be some European-based players that will be available. And ultimately, there will also be a lot of these guys in the roster as well. The question about the Mexican team is I think they have an incredibly talented group of attacking players mixed in with some very, very strong central defenders and a holding midfielder, I think is fantastic as well. So a lot of individual quality in the team. Really surprised to see that they played the same lineup, almost maybe 3 changes from their first 2 games. Surprised with that. Surprised that they would basically be looking to play their strongest lineup the whole way through, because for me, it's a lot of games in a short period of time. But we'll see. The semifinal game will dictate who is right or wrong.
All right, last 3 questions here. Next up, we'll take Michela Giannone from Univision. Michela, go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, Coach. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I wanted to ask you about the mental part. Obviously, you guys wanted to win the group, wanted to beat Mexico, obviously. But there's obviously the silver lining. And how do you think the players play today, knowing mentally that this is not the game? The next game is the one that is important. But obviously, you wanted to win. But how do you walk that line? Thank you.
Yeah. No, it is a difficult thing. The coaching staff as well. You know, we based a lot of lineup decisions based on kind of what we're thinking for the next game already. We put together a group that we thought was fresh and that we thought could compete in from a physical perspective in this game. And I'm sure that the players were feeling a little bit the same way, but I would say that, you know, the opponent being Mexico, I think was enough to make sure that everybody was concentrated and focused and motivated to give their best today. And I think they all did.
Thank you, Michela. Next up, we'll take our final question from Hector Lazeri. Hector, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Hector Lazeri from Marca Claro. Just to finish up. You used a lot of different players in this game, and you played pretty much evenly with the Mexican team. Do you feel you had more confidence for the next game and even maybe for a rematch in the final?
Yeah, we lost your question. Can you ask it again?
Yeah, sure. You used a lot of different players this time in this game. Mexico played pretty much the same starting 11. Do you gain even more confidence for the semifinal and even some? The probability of a rematch in the final against Mexico again?
Yeah. I mean, I did. Like I said, I thought it was really interesting that they used basically the same lineup over the 3 games. If this is their strongest lineup, you would expect that they're going to be playing them again. So 4 games over the span of 11 days, I think is a lot to ask for any of these players, but I don't know. You know, the other truth of the matter is that Mexico's in mid-season form. Their players are in mid-season form, which is very different from ours. So we literally couldn't have done the same thing. Our players would never physically have been able to handle that, which I think is a really cool thing for us. We get to use all of our players. We get to kind of come into this tournament with the approach that it's about the team and that everybody's going to contribute to the team effort. And we've put our money where our mouth is. So hopefully we go into this next game with quite a few fresh players and quite a few hungry players to make the difference and to punch our ticket to Tokyo.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Jason, thank you for the time.
You're welcome. Everybody take care.